Juliette's Kitchen.
So kimchi or sauerkraut has loads of different strains. Now, if your bacterial balance is good, it means you're going to get more nutrients from the food that you're eating. It means you're going to actually be able to digest it properly. Also, 70% of your immune system resides in your gut. So if your gut isn't working properly, your immune system is going to be compromised. And we don't want that, do we?
No.
So most people forget about the fact that they actually need to focus for the health of their whole body on this one area here. Also, what's happening a lot in people's guts is that we're not absorbing, we've got holes in our gut lining from eating the wrong foods. You know, so it's a really, really important subject, and it's one that I could talk for hours about. In fact, I do in some of my workshops, but I'm just talking about it briefly here, so that you get a little taster, so you can really start to focus on really strengthening this area and looking where you're getting probiotic foods from. So sauerkraut is a good probiotic. Water kefir or milk kefir are good probiotics. Kombucha is another natural probiotic. Obviously you can buy probiotics as well, but eating as many of these different probiotic foods, miso is another one that's an amazing probiotic. So fermented foods is what we're looking at. Not your alcoholic fermented foods, but the step before that. You know, when you're looking at your kombuchas and your kefir and all those things, it's kind of the step before. Apple cider vinegar is another one, before you go into the alcohol side of it. So what we are going to do is we've got a lovely cabbage. Now, this is a really, really good trick when you're doing making sauerkraut, is you peel off the outer layer. Like so. You have to do it a bit carefully just for this bit, because we're going to use this later. So we're going to save that. We're going to peel off both outer pieces and save it for later. Doesn't matter if it rips a little bit, but you want it to be as intact as possible. Okay. Oh, that one's not so intact, but that's okay. There we go. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we are going to chop this in half to start with.
It's a lovely cabbage there,
Cabbages
Juliette.
are things that I absolutely love. In fact, my logo, if any of you have seen it, is of a cabbage. The inside of a cabbage. If you cut open a cabbage, I don't know if you can all see that, but there's a really beautiful pattern inside each cabbage, and I think that's amazing. You know, we're eating food that nature has created, which has such beautiful designs. It's amazing. It makes me just marvel at the joys of nature when I see things like that. And that's what a really important thing to do is, when you're making food and you're working with food, is actually marvel at the joys and be grateful that we're given such amazing things all around us. You know, Mother Nature is incredible. And when I see things like that, I really just go, oh, thank you. Thank you for putting me on this planet and giving me such brilliant food. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the core of this. And we're going to save this for later. It's going to be a wedge. Okay? Can you see how I've cut out that middle core?
Yep.
Yes.
So we're saving the two outer leaves and we're saving this for later. Now what we're going to do, let's put these in here. Save them for later because I need this bowl. Is we're going to chop the cabbage. Now you can chop the cabbage in a food processor if you want it really finely done, or you can just roughly chop it. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you as to what size you want your sauerkraut to be, and it can be as thick or as fine as you want. I quite like it roughly chopped. You can see whilst I'm chopping this is quite hard, isn't it? Can everyone see and hear how hard the cabbage is?
Yes, nice and
In a minute, prepare to see it transformed.
Ooh.
Okay, so we're going to pour this in here. Our roughly chopped cabbage. I'm just going to chop it a little bit more in here so it doesn't go all over the table. Okay, so you can see here, this is quite hard, yeah? Let's look at this piece so you can really see what it's looking like. It's quite hard, solid in colour. So, can I have some salt? Thank you. I'm going to chop up some of this whilst we get some salt. Some Malden sea salt would be the best thing if you've got it.
Yep, and we have all.
It's a great thing about doing a demo in the natural way, isn't it? Can I have this, please? Could I have this?
I love it. When I travel around doing demos, it's very hard to always remember absolutely everything. And in some places it's okay, in others it's not, when you don't have those things. Oh, what am I going to do?
You've got your knife.
Amazing. Okay. So,
But she's got a knife there.
I've got a knife, it's alright. Perfect, I don't want to chop your fingers. Watch out. Now salt is really, really important for us. Very important. And people have got very scared of salt because people, the media has said salt is bad. And why they've said that is because table salt is terrible. It is toxic rubbish, do not touch it. But sea salt is not rubbish. Sea salt is really, really important for us to have. Now we're putting this salt on here. And what we're going to do is we are going to start to massage this cabbage. And this is where the transformation will come. Remember what I said about putting love into your food, but when you're massaging, don't be getting stressed massaging. All the love going into it as we massage. That's right,
He wants a massage.
That's right.
He has a massage before he goes to bed.
It's always nice to massage, isn't it? To massage
Do
people,
massage
to
you,
massage
Rowan?
food. You can massage kale and it does the same thing. It breaks down that brittle, hard exterior and makes it soft and so much easier on our digestive system. It's quite a therapeutic process, I find, massaging cabbage. And when you know about the wonders that it's going to do for your gut, you know, it's such an important thing. I read an article, I haven't looked into it further yet, but I read an article that said 1 tablespoon of sauerkraut contains more probiotics in it than a whole bottle of like your average probiotic pills that you would buy.
Wow.
1 tablespoon. So if we're having a tablespoon of that every day, then we're really, really going to be helping to strengthen our gut. We're really going to be supporting our immune system. It's an incredible, incredible thing. Okay, we're nearly there. Nearly.
I only use Himalayan salt, so you can still put this into here?
You can use Himalayan salt. Yeah, with Himalayan rock salt, you don't want to use too much of it because after a while, it's got a very drawing effect to it. So it starts to pull nutrients out of your body. It's okay for a bit, but too much of it, it's like if you put Himalayan salt into the bathtub, it draws all the toxins out of your body. But it's also doing that after a while with nutrients. So I would mix it up, use a bit of Himalayan rock salt and a bit of sea salt. That's the best combination. Okay.
What about seaweed?
Seaweed's amazing. Yeah, seaweeds is an incredible, incredible food. So rich in minerals. You know, it's such an important thing to have in our diet, seaweed. You wouldn't use seaweed in something like this. You'd need to use salt. I mean, you could put it in at a later part of it, but it wouldn't have the same preserving and breaking down effect that the salt has in this. Okay, so can you see the difference? It's all limp. It almost looks like it's been cooked, doesn't it? And can you see all that moisture on my hands?
Yeah.
They're all wet. So if I pick this up and give it a good squeeze, we should start, not quite, needs a little bit longer. The test is when you squeeze it, you should have a little bit of liquid coming out of it. Oh, there, I've got it starting as I throw it around. Okay, can you see? There we go. We've got the liquid coming out. That means we're ready for the next phase. Let me show you guys it. That's what it's looking like. And it smells really
Smells nice.
beautiful thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a kilner jar and we're going to pack it in. It's always good when you're packing it in to do it over the bowl. It's a little bit messy. So as you're going, this is a really important part of this. You push it down as you go. So you're packing it down and getting the juices up as much as possible. Really, really important that you do this bit.
Massive notes, all the boats to see.
Packing it in again, and then we're pushing down again.
There's a handy
Push
at the end.
like this. Packing it down nice and tightly so that all those juices come up to the top. So I've now filled it up. I've got my cabbage leaf from earlier, which we're going to use to seal it. So I'm going to push that in, all the juices nicely coming up. And then we've got our weight from earlier. Push that in and see all the juices nicely bubbling up. Then we're going to put the lid down, close it all. You'd leave that for a week on the side somewhere, not in the direct sun, but it doesn't have to be in a dark place. And you just make sure that the liquid on it was always up to the top. You might want to give it a push down every couple of days just to make sure that the liquid levels are up to the top. And that is it. So simple. After that week, what you would do is you'd put it in your fridge and start eating it, a tablespoon at every meal.
Juliette's Kitchen.